I was 14 years old when my best friend and I were going to tennis camp together. We were so excited. It was one of the first times going away without our parents. And I remember after a first full day of activities, we are heading to dinner. I walk up into the room and I see this big buffet with lots of meat and fish. And me being the only vegetarian in the room. No worries, one of the crew members says, we're going to improvise and we're going to make you a veggie meal. Just have a little patience. And while I wait and wait, I see my friends already going for their third round of food. After waiting for over 30 minutes and asking several times, I think they must have forgotten me. I decide to not make a fuss, walk up to the buffet, and get a plate with food. So I sit down, I take a bite of my meat dish, and on that very exact same moment, one of the crew members walks in and says, "We finally got the vegetarian meal for Lisa. Where is she?" The whole room goes quiet. Everyone looks at me, and I don't know where to look. I will never forget this moment. This setting was over 16 years ago, and I wonder, did something change? When we're talking about food these days, meat and other animal products are still the standard, the default. And we all know that one vegetarian or vegan friend who always need to jump through hoops to even request something different. Most of the times end up with a slightly disappointing meal. Weird, if you ask me, since we know that the way we currently eat is anything but future-proof. Our global food system is unequal, unsustainable, unhealthy, and destabilizing. And when we specifically zoom in on animal agriculture, we see that it's one of the biggest contributors to our current climate crisis. It's causing a large-scale deforestation, severe pollution, biodiversity loss, and so much more. When we look into the ethical part, we slaughter around 70 billion animals per year, worldwide. All individuals, just like us, with unique personalities, who can be shy and playful, and can also experience pain, fear, and stress. And on top of that, industrial farming is a big threat to our collective and individual health. And, without a doubt, you've all heard many of these statistics before. You may feel overwhelmed, or you may be thinking, oh no, another preaching vegan. And I get that. But when we talk about this subject, eating less meat and more plants, it's always about what it will cost us and what we have to give up. And today I want to talk to you about what it will bring us when we collectively shift towards a more plant-based diet. So my journey started a while ago. I've been vegan now for over 9 years, and people frequently ask me about that one specific moment that made me decide to go vegan. Well, to be honest, there wasn't one moment, because funny enough, I didn't plan to become vegan at all. In fact, I couldn't imagine a life without meat, as you can see. But it all started with a small step that in the end was the beginning of a long process that made more and more sense over the years. I just started with eating less meat, experimenting with more plant-based dishes, replacing dairy and eggs, watching documentaries, reading books, and learning from others. And I still do learn every day. If you ask me, were there bumps along the way? Absolutely. But the more and more I discovered how rich and varied and flavorful the plant-based kitchen is, the easier and more fun it got. And when I work with restaurants and caterers and in my cookbooks, I always try to focus on how can we make the next step easier for ourselves? How can we make it easier for ourselves? My suggestion? How about switching the default from animal-based to plant-based? And now give people the choice to opt in for meals with animal products. In this way, the freedom of choice will remain, but now you have to make extra effort to choose a meal with animal products instead of the other way around, like now. You may be expecting something like this. But what if the default can look like this, with a huge amount of possibilities? Working towards a future where plant-based food is the default can bring us better health, can reduce animal suffering, promotes food justice, can contribute to a cleaner environment, can include a larger audience, saves us time and willpower, and most importantly, we're all be able to enjoy because plant-based food is delicious. It helps us also reshape what we think of as a normal meal. Last summer, I attended a barbecue. I do go to barbecues. And obviously, as the vegan that I am, I brought some vegan burgers with me. And at the end of the night, I spoke to someone who, by coincidence, tried one of them. And he said to me, "Wow, that was so tasty. It didn't taste vegan at all." I think what he meant was it didn't taste like cardboard, but I think it's a huge compliment because he said to me that it changed his view on vegan food. And he reassured me that the next barbecue, he will definitely be choosing that vegan burger again and share it with his friends. This is such a nice example of a small and effective win. And it shows that you don't have to be vegan to be able to enjoy plant-based food. The more likely you're going to try it and have positive experiences, the more likely you're going to share it with your friends and cook for your family, and also make it easier for others to choose it again. And whether you're more into whole food plant-based ingredients, like veggies, fruit, whole grains, legumes, nuts and seeds, or you're more into dishes with the taste and texture of meat, the best thing, you can do both. There's something for everyone's taste. My experience, it starts with the smallest step that you can incorporate in your daily life. And that's why now I want you to take a moment and think of 3 people in your life whom you often eat together with. Where do you usually meet, and what do you usually eat? Think for a moment where there might be room to give a little push in the plant-based direction. I'm going to give you 5 examples. When you're at the restaurant, ask and pick the plant-based option on the menu. When you're at home, cook your favorite dish, but then create a plant-based version. When you're walking out, having lunch with colleagues, be the one that suggests a plant-friendly takeaway. When you're walking through the supermarket, think of an easy-to-replace ingredient and take home the vegan version instead, for instance, butter. And finally, with the holidays coming up, you're probably thinking of what to bring to your next get-together with family and friends. And maybe you are the one that always brings the cheese platter. Challenge yourself and see how you can make your treat more plant-based. And And although these small actions seem negligible, and obviously I believe that industries should take their responsibility too. But I also believe that for this shift, we need everyone in their own way. And I believe your actions, your individual actions, leads to collective actions, which plays an important role when we're talking about systematic change, and can bring us one step closer to a future where plants are the default. And this, it's not my story, it's our story. The story of everyone who's alive now. That's why I would like to invite you to start today. Don't wait for your friend. Don't wait for your colleague. Don't wait for the government. Take the next step, and I'm confident that sooner rather than later, we'll all be enjoying food where plants are the center of attention.